My feeling really was, and still is today, that small businesses and the backbone of America is really under threat. The success of individual small business owners is becoming harder and harder to achieve. And, I want my kids to be able to be successful entrepreneurs one day. I want them to have an environment that allows for that. And too often it feels like policies are being made to the benefit of big business or big government, which makes it really hard for anybody to start a business. Barriers to entry in almost any industry are getting taller and taller. And, 15 years from now, when my daughter wants to go out and be an individual business owner, maybe it's a record producer, whatever it is, whatever she wants to do, I don't want it to be such a tall order that she can't, there's no prospect. Like kids today look around trying to think about buying a house, and it's almost completely out of reach unless you're an entrepreneur and you buy a house and you rent out rooms to some of your other friends so you can afford the mortgage.
House hacking.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Got the book on it. It's on the website.
There's smart entrepreneurs and the people that teach their kids those things. And so there's I think always ways to be successful in entrepreneurship, but it shouldn't be made harder by our government. It should be made easier.
Yeah, like even so many ways we can take this. So one, adapting, right? Times are tough. You got to adapt. Just like us real estate investors, business owners, we were talking about in the last podcast when COVID hit, we switched markets. Like we just figured it out from our kitchen table. You had no choice. Because I don't imagine, having a restaurant, a brick and mortar, what was going through your head, man. like we can get pretty flexible on our computers, man. And, yeah.
But, well, with that brick and mortar, there was a time where all of my businesses were debt-free. And so it made it to where you could tighten the belt pretty tight. But going through COVID and some of the positions that we were put in, we're not debt-free anymore. And now we have to figure out how to pay the note on the loan that we took up to get through that time. And that makes it harder. And I don't think that anyone should really be put in that position.
Made me think, because we're doing a lot of market updates throughout that time. And I forgot what fund it is, so don't quote me on this, but it was like a large fund that went to business owners. And I just like a large percentage of it, like 60, 70% of it went to corporations versus us, right?
Well, if you think about it, the independent individual small business owner, probably doesn't have the access to the information as readily as a large corporation does because they'll have an entire department dedicated to it. I mean, how many hats do you wear when you're doing your job? And I can tell you mine. I spend most of my morning fundraising, but yesterday I'm the line cook, right? So Saturday football, somebody calls out. Guess who's getting called in to go cook breakfast for people? That's me. And it doesn't matter what restaurant. If you're the owner of a business, that's your responsibility, and you can't just be like, oh, sorry, shut it down.
Got to do it.
And so we're all struggling to do all those things, and these programs are put out, and I'm cooking. How do I have time to go look this stuff up? It becomes harder and harder and harder. It's not that it's not available or accessible. It's just one more layer when you already have 10 layers. And so, you're right. You see some of those programs end up going to like bigger corporations.
So kind of reeling it towards the real estate community, what is your position on affordable housing, and how can we solve or work to solve some of the affordability issues that we have?
Man,
simple question.
Yeah,
let's make it easy.
No layers to that one. That's just one simple answer, right? Yeah, look, I think there's a lot. I think what we're doing with interest rates right now they're too high. I think that we can work to lower that. I think the supply chain has been a problem, and construction has been a problem. Some of the regulations that have been put into making sure building and building codes are accurate and safe, while most of them are great, some of them create such a backlog of production that you end up not having enough housing. Most of this stuff is going to be on a state level, but looking at the state being able to push more affordable housing, multi-homes, multi-units,